Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to Wednesday, August 18th. Hope you're doing well today. Yesterday was, not a great day on Wall Street. Ended up better than it was partway through the day, but we'll talk about that and more when Dave joins us in just a minute. But before that, let me remind you, folks, there's only one thing that any of us can control. We can't control the markets. We can't control what's happening in Afghanistan. We can't control what's happening in Washington, D.C., but we can control how much risk you have in your portfolio. Give us a call at 863-382-0037 to schedule your financial x-ray. Hey, with that, we'll start next with Dave.
And that be there. It's 8:40 now, 20 before 9. Let's check in on money and see what's happening in the markets this morning. And as always, we go down, check in with Phillip Statler, head honcho of Statler Financial Services in downtown Sebring. Phillip, good morning. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Dave. Doing well today. Yesterday was, let's just say not a great day. We did have a pretty downward movement yesterday, but intraday was way worse than what we ended the day. So that was, I guess, some good news at the end.
And that's kind of why I'm almost describing it as malaise. I mean, we've been bombed with a bunch of relatively minor but still important economic reports that missed expectations, and finally it all caught up yesterday. The Dow was down 282, S&P was down 31.5, and the Nasdaq was down about 137.5. And as you say, it was worse during the middle of the day. Then investors caught up and said, "Wait a minute, we're ignoring everything else. We might as well buy something." And bargain hunting kind of brought us out of the real pits. Kind of brings us up this morning, and more news that's we were saying before we went on the air, I guess I'm not surprised. We got the report out, building permits month over month, a pleasant surprise, more than double what was expected, up 2.5%. But then housing starts just absolutely fell off the edge of the earth. And my first reaction was, geez, if all the workers are getting sick during the Delta variant, I guess I'm not surprised that not as many people started building homes last month.
Well, and that could very well be. But you add that to the other little thing that you had yesterday that came out after we talked, and that's that home builders index fell yesterday. So I don't know, maybe those two things have some correlation together.
Yeah, it could very well be. The thing that you're referring to is a housing, called the NAHB Wells Fargo Housing Market Index. It's a nationwide survey of home builders, basically, and it went to a 13-month low last month yesterday. Kind of gives us a leading economic indicator on the housing market as far as how the builders are thinking, and they kind of got a case of stinking thinking right now, evidently.
It's definitely looking that way, Dave, when it comes to construction. It is good news that the building permits are up, but so often we get excited because people go pull permits, but that doesn't mean they're going to break ground yet. There's still a lot to happen between the permit hitting and them actually breaking ground and starting to build something. And sometimes, they lose steam somewhere in between.
Absolutely. There was about a 30 to 60 day delay between the time that we saw the building permits drop off to nothing and the time we really crashed and burned back in the 08-09 housing crash. So it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's not bad news, but it doesn't necessarily something that you can put in the bank either when we do that. For what it's worth, they were expecting a 1% increase in building permits. We got 2.6%, and on that face alone, it's good news. But as you say, there's a lot of places where things can slip between the cup and the lip, right?
Absolutely. And then, we do have more stuff coming out later today that will definitely have an impact on the markets this afternoon. And that's going to be the Fed Open Committee Market Committee meeting minutes come out today at 2:00. And,
absolutely. I was going to say, you had mentioned that you'd heard tidbits and gossip coming out of the Fed that some of the governors are starting to cage rattle about tapering our loose money policy a little faster than they were expected. If that shows up in the minutes, there's going to be an earthquake on the stock market charts.
That could very well happen. I did have an article I was reading that indicated that the Fed governors were somewhat leaning more and more towards tapering actually in the month of September. So that would be way off from what the rest of the minutes have indicated. I mean, that would just be really a change because the expectation was that we wouldn't see tapering until maybe the first quarter next year.
And with Paulson gunning for a renewed appointment from President Biden, seeing the stock markets tank off of tapering talk, that kind of throws a whole bunch of mess into it in the process because he's due for reappointment now.
That's true, and so we'll have to continue to keep our eye on that to see exactly what happens, and today will be maybe some indication of what they're thinking.
Understood. To clarify, what we're talking about, folks, is the minutes to the Federal Reserve meeting from last month. Comes out a couple of weeks after the meeting, and green eye shades across the country just parse every single syllable on those things. And with gossip like that coming out of the Federal Reserve, you can bet they're going to be parsing it even more carefully than they usually do.
That's right. I mean, they're just going to be looking at every syllable, every single sentence structure to kind of read between the lines.
Oh, yeah, let's pray no secretary misspells anything in the minutes today. It could end up causing a dump. Yesterday we had Home Depot report, and they were, did okay, but they disappointed the analysts. And I made note at the time that there was a sector effect on Lowe's. Lowe's didn't report yesterday, but they were tanking at the same time Home Depot was pre-market. Now we've got Lowe's response as far as earnings reports are concerned. How are they doing this quarter?
Dave, they actually did well. They beat by about 24 cents a share. They came in at $4.25. Revenues beat forecast. Same store sales did decline 1.6%, but that was better than the 2.2% that was expected by analysts. So across the board, it looks like they did well, and they also raised their full year financial outlook. Yeah, so that was good news for Lowe's this morning. And you're right, yesterday they did close down 5.8%, but they're getting a bump this morning, up 3.7% right now to $189.
Which, given the fact that they're fighting a pretty big headwind across the market, that's pretty good. They're toward the top of my big winner list this morning early on.
Yeah, so that is some good news for that industry too. Hey, I had another big time retailer report, Dave. Target came out. They beat by 15 cents a share, came in at $3.64. Revenue was slightly ahead of expectations. Same store sales was better than expected by a little bit. They came in at 8.9% compared to the 8.8 was expected. But Target is sliding this morning.
Going to drop in here somewhere, I can tell.
I can't find it. I can't find it, but it is down almost 2% this morning. The only thing that I can see is there is no guidance, right? Lowe's gave guidance, and they were rewarded for that this morning. I'm going to talk about Krispy Kreme donuts next. They gave guidance, and the last time I looked, they were getting rewarded for that. So that's the only thing I can see is that Target didn't give any guidance, and so that may be what's in there somewhere.
That may make good sense given the fact that we kind of have been reading off of the earnings season this year. If the company gives good guidance, that forgives a whole ton of sins. If you don't give it at all, even when you're doing as well as Target is, it costs you.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the only thing I could find between the reports that wasn't mentioned. So like I said, Krispy Kreme donuts is the other one that came out today, and they actually missed by a penny a share. Yep, they missed. They came in at 13 cents a share. Revenue did beat expectations. They gave a better than expected revenue forecast. Again, that helped them. And so they're trading up this morning right now at 2%.
Cool. Yeah. I guess I'm surprised that they missed anything just on the grounds that, high carbs are good for a vaccine or a virus.
All right. So I want to talk. So I have another one, Alcon. Now, Alcon, it took me a little while to recognize the name, but they make contact lenses. They make surgical products for eye care. They're I think a Swiss company. so they're not on our exchange, but they reported better than expected earnings results on both earnings and revenue, and they raised their full year guidance. The quarter, they debuted a new contact. They call it the Vivity Intraocular Contact Lens. And the analysts say that really will help drive sales growth for them. Again, they are trading right now on the Swiss exchange up 30% this morning. Yeah.
Well, I lived in Alcon contact lenses till I got my cataracts done, so I know the brand pretty well.
So they're having a really good quarter, and their stock price is really bumping up because of that.
Cool. Almost wish they were being traded over here because we could use a bump. Resetting the table this morning, it was an off day on all three of the major indexes yesterday. Looking at the open market committee meetings and some reports out of the market, where are we going 45 minutes early, Phillip?
Dave, I'm going to say right now, we are still heading down this morning. And that's, I don't know, maybe we've continued by the way it was yesterday. I'm not sure, but the Dow right now is down about 1/3%. The S&P 500 is down 0.2%. The NASDAQ's down a little over 0.1%. And the VIX, that's the thing that we follow for the volatility index on the S&P 500, is up 1% this morning. So not good news there on the index side. The commodity side, we're seeing some upward movement. Silver is up about 0.2, gold's up about 0.1%. And then crude oil is up 0.75% to $66.84 a barrel right now.
Still in the trading range, but there was an inventory report out yesterday that indicated our supplies are going down, which probably bumped the price up on crude oil by a little bit. Overseas markets, the Asian Rim, mostly up. They must be kind of having a zero-sum game moment against our down day yesterday because they were all up and substantially in some cases. Europe is trading fractionally downward this morning, halfway through their trading day. Phillip, watching this marketplace, and like we said, we could have an earthquake about 2 p.m. when the market meeting, when the open market committee minutes come out. That's called risk. And if you're getting close to retirement, you don't like that word. How do I find you to minimize my risk in my retirement fund?
Dave, that is the only thing that any of us can control is how much risk we have in our portfolio. To find out what your risk number is, give us a call at 863-382-0037. Check out our website, statlerfinancial.com, and then join us this weekend for the Statler Financial Radio Show, 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday morning, on Highlands News Talk 730.
And back here as usual tomorrow morning, the same time on Light FM. Phillip, thank you so much. You have a good day, and we'll see you then.
All right, man. You too.
Take care. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Hey, folks, I want to thank you for joining us today. Again, halfway through the week, I hope your week's going well. Hey, take care. Until tomorrow, I'll talk to you then. Bye.